Hello and welcome back. We are ready to start the mission now. One thing I am going to let you know, I decided to give one of my pilots, Kremler, an expert badge. Just because when you start a campaign, you get to pick several pilots that are already experts at the start of the campaign. And since I'm not playing a full campaign, I thought it would be fair to give myself one of the pilots have an upgrade, so I went with the luck upgrade. It lets him get out of one hit during the course of the mission. So he will have that. Yeah, so we'll just get right into it here. I think I told you last time about my setup and how I rolled and picked my pilots and everything. Went with these four. So, for the first turn, first of all, you would normally start with the move sequence. But on the first turn, they have to enter play, so you can place them in any low approach or any low entry box, whether from left or right, oblique angle, or tail. So I think I'm going to have Bauer and Richter come in from the nose low. And I'm actually going to have Schmidt and Kremler pair off together and come in from the low oblique. Okay, so that counts actually as your first move. So the first turn, there's not a whole lot of action. Then you would move up to the return phase. That would mean any pilots that have just returned from an attack run would get to move out onto the board, but we skip by that for now. Now we go to the escort phase, and you roll once for each escort position. The P-47's there in the forward station and the below trailing station. So let's roll, and that is a 1. So one of these moves to the above trailing station. So I will position him here. Now we roll for the below trailing position. That was a 5. So they move to the tail low position. That was a good thing I didn't have any fighters come in from the tail. I almost did that. They would have had to engage the escorts. Now this just simulates the fact that the escorts are going to be tangling with other fighters and, positioning. They haven't seen us yet, so we got off easy there, definitely. Now it is the recovery phase, which that is when you roll for any damage that was taken, but we didn't take any damage, so like I said, it kind of moves through pretty quick. Now we roll for the cohesion check. That is for the formation to see how tight it is. Like the more bombers are damaged, the more action that takes place, the formation can loosen up and become less deadly. So we roll for that. That is a 10. So you have to roll less than the amount of tokens that are out on the board, and there's only one, so that 10 means they stay in formation. Now it's the attack phase, but nobody else has, gotten in position to attack yet, so we skip by that. So that brings us to the end of the first turn. Like I said, there's not a whole lot that happens that first turn, so mission turn up there to turn 2. Now we start all over again here for the move phase. So I'm going to have Kremler and Schmidt come in for a low oblique attack, so they move there. Now I actually want Richter and Bauer to get, so instead of moving into attack from low, I'm going to have them move up towards the level box. And actually, I think I will pay the 1 TP, 1 tactical point, right, 2, to let them move from here up to here. So they're up in the high nose position. That means they can attack out of the sun then, if the escorts don't tangle with them. Okay, so that's the move. Now the return phase. There's nobody in the return box. Now we roll for escorts again. We start with the above trailing. That is a 2. So we move him to the tail high position. Now we roll for the forward station. That is a 4. And that means he moves to the above trailing position. Then we roll once for the below trailing position. 7. Flank at the 2 to 4 o'clock position. I believe that's not here, that is up here. And was that level? Yes. Okay, so we got to watch out for those escorts, but luckily they haven't tangled with any of our fighters yet. Now it's the blast and flak stage, but we're not over the target, so there's going to be no flak attacks. Normally you'd roll for flak attacks. Now we roll again for the cohesion check. 2, nope, they stay in formation. Okay, now we're up to the attack phase. So any units that are in attack boxes can attack. So we have Kremler and Schmidt. They are in the oblique low. So they can attack from any left flank at low level. So we're probably going to, we got to pick which bomber they're going to attack. I would like to hit this one here that's already damaged, but they would have to come in right here, and that's a pretty dangerous spot because they're taking fire from all those. That's a 3 there. So I might let the others take care of that. So I think they're going to actually come in from this flank to attack the tail bomber. That is only a lethal level of 1, so they are going to go here. Now you can choose to come in evasive formation or in normal aggressive formation. Now there's advantages and disadvantages of both. It's a little easier to avoid a collision if you're in evasive mode, but then you return to the evasive return box, and it's a little harder to do damage. I mean, there's definitely pros and cons. So now we actually have to pick what maneuver they're going to do, and if they're going to dive, or climb, or roll left, right, or just fly through straight. Considering the tail is pretty covered by escorts and the other flank is covered by escorts pretty good right here, they're not going to want there, so I'm going to have them break towards the nose. And I am actually going to have, so I put this marker here, I'm going to have Kremler dive. If it's blue, it's dive. Or actually, blue is climb, sorry. So he's going to do a diving roll. So we position that way. And then I'm going to have Schmidt do a climbing roll. So now we get ready for them to do their attack. First of all, we would draw a card. Oh, actually, first I forgot to do the collision check. We pick one of the pilots to do a collision check. We'll do Schmidt. And we draw a proximity 3. I gotta check my player aid because it's the one thing I can never quite remember. All the if the number rolled is less than the number printed on the proximity marker, a collision occurs. So get over a 3. That is a 6. So they are okay. No collision, but you place the marker here, and that adds towards the cohesion check. You count the number of markers. So it just stays there. So now Kremler gets to attack. So we draw an oblique attack card. I will explain what the card means. they are attacking from low. So you read the lethal level of... Oh, and also since they are attacking from the same space, they get this bonus, lets them to skip a hit. So you can hang on to that and use that any time during the attack. Okay, so these are high and low attacks. The tan color is normal and blue as if you were in evasive. So we're attacking from low on a lethal level 1 space in aggressive formation. So that means we inflict 1 hit and we take 1 damage. So I am actually going to use this to cancel that damage. Now from here on, oh, but now we draw the damage for the bomber. So I'm reaching into my cup and we draw an engine, hit 8. So we roll for that. Just a second. It's already just... Sorry for the dead air. I can't remember with the... You have to roll the dice equal to or higher to trigger the effect. Okay. Sorry, I couldn't remember if it was less or over. So I need to roll an 8, 9, or a 10 to knock it out of the sky. It's a 4. So instead we just flip it and it's 0 damage. So that marker still stays there, but he does 0 damage. And now he... Oh, that's the other thing. You look at the card, and that's how many spaces you move. He moves 1 space, and he's rolling and diving, so... Goes from here, and he's rolling that way now. He's, veering off towards the nose. Now we do Schmidt's attack. And we draw another oblique angle. Lucky day. He does not take a damage, and he is diving towards the nose. He would move 1 space, but he also inflicts a hit. So let's draw a hit tile. That's a wing. I would have to roll literally a 10 to knock him out of the sky directly, and that is a 5. So we do flip it over, and that's 2 damage. Now these little letters on here, that means it's damage like on the wing. They go into effect if you're using the advanced rules where you have to take down the fighter on the little, or take down the bomber on the little bomber map, but we aren't doing that. So he is diving that way now, so he's veering off that way, or climbing. And yeah. Okay, so now it's like the follow-through phase. They get to return fire, so we draw a continuing fire card for them. They're on a lethal level 2. First we draw for Kremler. So it's a 2. And he is diving, thankfully, so he does not use the additional effect, but he does take 1 hit, and I'm out of a way to cancel that, so... And we draw a hit for him. And it's a elevator hit. That goes on him. And since he is rolling and diving, he goes to the return box. We resolve that on the recovery phase next turn. Now for Schmidt. He draws a continuing fire card. Engine sputter. If climbing or climb rolling, after resolving continuing fire, spend 1 TP or exit. So he doesn't take a hit, but I would have to spend 1 tactical point, or he would have to leave the map because of his engine sputtering. So I will spend that last point, and he rolls off, but he's okay. Doesn't take a hit. Oh, and he was climbing, though, so he goes into the high return box. And... that's it for that turn. Now this is the turn the escorts do exit. So we remove them, thankfully. Just taking them out. They're out of range. Earlier on in the war, they didn't have very much fuel to fly with the bombers for a long time, and the game does reflect that. Later on, using like the P-40 or P-51 Mustang and drop tanks and stuff, they were able to pretty much stay with the bombers the whole time. So that becomes rougher for us. So now it is the move phase. So I'm going to move this pair to the high attack from the nose. And I'm going to move Schmidt to right there. Unfortunately, whenever you have damage, you can't move, so you have to resolve that and the recovery phase and wait till the next turn, so it does lose you some time there. Okay. Oh, now it's the escort phase. Now is when I would have removed the tiles, but now it's the recovery phase. So I roll for him. I believe I need a greater or equal than. So I got to roll a 7, 8, 9, or 10. And that is a 6. So we place him in the elevator fate box for his damage elevator. Now at the end of the game, you would make a roll based on the aircraft type, and if they're wounded, bail out. A lot of stuff can happen, but for now, it's to be continued for him. So we'll find out his fate afterwards. Now we are on the blast and flak phase. There is no flak since we're not on a target. The blast is for if you're dropping bombs or using rockets, but we do not have those at this point. So now it's the cohesion check. So we roll 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 markers. So if I get less than 4, it's a 5. The formation would degrade, but it doesn't, so we also remove that marker. Now it is the attack phase, so it is time for Bauer and Richter to get some action. They're attacking from the nose. Gotta decide which one we want to pick on. I think we're gonna pick on them. And since they're high, we use these altitude blocks. If you're coming in from low, you use none. If you're coming in from level, you use 1. If you're coming in from high, you use 2. So they're coming head on from the high, and they're also coming out of the sun. So they each get one of these sun markers. I'll just put them there. The game does get a lot of like bookkeeping markers. It can really fill up the map. I will actually put that beside because I know a lot of times I don't use the expert badges because you have your squadron roster that shows you who is or isn't in these. I should actually show you a picture of, I have a used one here. And pilots and stuff. So normally you don't really need to use that. So they're coming head on. I try to position them as kind of straight as I can, so it looks like they're coming head on. But yeah, they're coming head on from the high angle out of the sun. Now we do draw a collision check because they're on there. They're both in aggressive mode, not evasive mode. So, I do believe that might be a hit. I gotta look at my cheat sheet for that, though. It's a hit. If evasive mode, treat as no collision. If determined, flip the proximity mode marker over and attach it to the fighter as a hit. Okay. I was supposed to pick the fighter I was drawing for, so even will be him, odd will be him. And it goes to Bauer. Okay, so if the proximity marker hasn't been, either leave it on the element. Okay, so now we do the attack. First of all, we will... Oh, actually, we gotta decide which position they're doing. I'm going to have Richter climb and move straight through, so he's going towards the tail. Oh, and I put that on the roll side. Okay. So just straight up climb. So he's going to just fly straight and pull up. Meanwhile... Oh, I see. Yeah, actually, then you're supposed to flip this and it does become a hit, so it's a rudder hit. So I'll just mark that on him. I don't think you can use your advantage because we have that advantage because there are two fighters in the same thing that allow us cancel a hit. So, because it was collision damage. Anyway, so now we're going head on. Reminder, he has the lucky ability, so you can cancel a hit possibly. They can each roll the dice once. If they take a hit because of the sun, odd, it hits, even, they're safe. So we got to decide what Bauer is going to do. He's actually, I think, going to dive and go straight through. So they're both moving straight through, but one's climbing, one's diving. So let's let our expert go first, Richter. So we draw a card from the nose, aggressive posture, and it's a lethal level of 2, and it's high. Okay, so it's no hit. He moves 1 space. So he goes through to this space here. And he gets a no ammo marker. So he shot off all his ammunition and didn't hit. Some expert he is. Oh, what a waste. Okay. So now it's up to Bauer. Let's see if he can do any better. Lethal level of 2. Nose high. He moves 3 spaces. And he does inflict a hit, but he takes a hit. I am going to use his advantage. Oh, no, actually, I'm going to roll for the sun first. And that is an even. So we get rid of that, but he dodges that hit without using advantage. He moves 2 spaces. Now, there isn't an extra space here, so you always stop at the edge wherever the numbers are. Like if you were right here, then you'd move 2, but... so let's do that hit, though. I'll draw a chip. It's a fuselage hit. It has no critical number on it, so you just straight up flip it. And that is a 1. It takes 10 damage to destroy a bomber. But if you get one of those lethal numbers or catastrophic events, I believe they're called, they drop out of formation, and it's just like destroying them. So now we do the continuing fire for each of them. We'll start with our ace, and I use the term loosely. Continuing fire, they're on a lethal level of 1 now, I believe. Where's that printing? Yes, 1. So he's diving. Hard roll. If he was rolling, he would get to skip continuing fire, but he's not. So he does take a hit. This is where it's tempting. I would probably... Oh, he has not used his sun advantage yet, so I will roll the dice. That was a bad roll. That was successful, but I'd like to make it fair. So 7. That's an odd, so he would take the hit, but I will use his lucky ability. Cash that in. So he dodges out of that, and he dives to the tail. Oh, wait, that's our... I got it mixed up. Our ace was Richter, so he doesn't... we'll draw a hit for him then. I kind of flubbed that up. And it's a fuselage hit. So he is diving, goes to the return box. And now we draw for our ace. Hard roll. If die and skip, continue fire, same card. So I will use his ace bonus to get out of that hit. And he climbs to the tail. So he goes there. Get rid of these blocks. Okay, so pretty ineffective so far, but we have done some damage on the one bomber. Alrighty, now we are up to turn 4. I'm actually need to grab a drink of water and stuff. I think I'm actually coming down with a bug, so it's hard for me to talk a long time. I'm a little groggy, so I'm actually gonna stop the video here and just continue this into a next part so I can kind of regroup and try to continue with the second half of the mission. Probably Schmidt's gonna get a chance to fly out by himself and do something. So yeah, and then we'll find out what happens to Bauer, who got shot up pretty good. Alrighty, thanks for watching, and I'll just see you in the next part. Thanks, bye.